All right, man. Jorge de Leon. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good, bro. Thanks for coming on by.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Jorge, do you ever go by George?
Yeah. My sisters call me George.
How many people call you George as opposed to Jorge?
A lot.
Really?
So I go by both of them.
Okay. Man, it's kind of like me and like Will and William. The only one that I don't accept is Bill.
Bill.
Dude, I feel like that makes me like a 60-year-old man or something.
I could never see that.
Yeah, I don't know why people ask that. I'm just like, no. Just,
yeah,
I'm
like,
good.
nah, I'm good.
They're like, can I call you anything? Or what do you prefer? And I'm like, you can call me anything. They're like, Bill? And I'm like, no, not Bill.
Not that one.
So, man, you're a realtor. What's your title? You're a realtor, but you're an investor. What all do you do, man?
Man, so we do a little bit of everything. I started out as a real estate agent, then started learning how to wholesale, started learning how to flip, how to buy and hold and stuff like that.
And how old were you when you got licensed?
It was 7 years ago, so I was about 24.
24. And how long was it a period of time that you actually did like residential, like just pretty much what any other realtor does, and before you got into the wholesaling, or was it always?
Yeah, it was from 24 until 27 until I met my partners, Arturo, Eli, Carlos, Heath, and them. Gotcha.
So you were 27 or 24? You were 24? 24. And then what got you into real estate?
So I was working IT at a company, absolutely hated it, just didn't like the whole corporate vibe of it all. So I left that job, went and worked IT at a credit union in Oklahoma City. My mom actually is a real estate agent, so
she's a pretty good one, right?
Yeah. She's
top
very
producer.
Successful. Yep. And then so she told me to come in. She was like, "How much money am I going to be making this month?" And it was like $38,000 for the month. So I was like, "Why not?"
That's what you were making probably in a year over there or something, or close to
around 90. So it was a third.
Okay.
Yeah, it was around.
I just think of IT and I think of you know, but so with your mom being in the business and her being successful, how come you didn't want to get into it sooner than what you did?
Just ignorance, just thinking I knew what I wanted to do in life. And then once the IT thing didn't work out, I was like, I need to try something else where I can be more social, more be out and about with people. I like meeting people and hanging out.
So are you meeting more, the same, or less people now that you're kind of have turned it to more of the wholesale side of things?
A lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more. From contractors to lenders to investors to
all kinds.
Yeah.
So you were a regular realtor from 24 to 27, and then so now you strictly just really focus on the wholesale side, or are you still doing a little bit of?
I do everything.
You're doing everything.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part of both ends? Like just helping like your regular family or a friend, and then the wholesale side of things. 'Cause I'm still kind of, really new to really agreeing to the wholesale side.
So as a real estate agent, I think helping out like a family get their first home, seeing how excited they are, making sure that their kids have a good school system, it's really rewarding. It's like it's not even about the money at that point with that aspect of real estate. It's just helping people, especially if it's like a challenging client that may need help with like their taxes or with credit, fixing their credit, making sure you put them with the right lender and taking care of them. Now the wholesaling side is all about being creative, understanding what your investors need, understanding how to run numbers, or like construction numbers as well. There's a lot more that goes into it than just sending somebody to a lender, getting them approved, and then showing them houses and writing a contract.
But it seems like the reward is a lot more than your regular realtor role on that end. But it's crazy that you say that, because most people, when I tell them that I'm a lender, they say, man, you must deal with a lot of numbers, which I do, but I feel that a lot of them are very automated. You know what I mean? But it seems like on your end, there's a lot more like calculated work that goes into as far as like even just that little thing that you showed me the other day on, what you need to get a property for and all that stuff. I'm just like, what in the world?
And it takes time to learn all that stuff.
How long did it take you to learn that?
Probably like a year or two. And it's a constant grind every single day. You're learning new things, how to be creative every single day. That's why I love it, because it's like you're never really going to get capped on your knowledge.
So does it change a lot, would you say?
Yeah.
It does.
Drastically.
So let me ask you this. Let's compare your regular realtor, your regular lender in the last couple of years to where we're at now in the market, which is COVID, big pandemic happened, and so many people, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as sadly as it happened for a lot of people, that they lost their jobs, they lost, you know, a bunch of different things. Really, for your regular realtor, your regular lender, they were able to benefit off of that because rates dropped. You know, houses there was an even more shortage on houses. There already was, but it was even more. So houses were lasting on the market for a day or less.
Yep.
And then so now it seems like we're going back to like real life or so, as far as most people are. Like if you're a waiter now, you can probably go back full time, you know, and then, but it seems like with the shift that has happened over on our end, we've seen more of a slowdown. Like even I was talking to a builder the other day, they have 27 houses that are just sitting there ready to go. And I'm just like, wait, what just happened? So put those two in perspective. How has that changed on the wholesaling side when COVID started to now? Or did anything change?
So wholesaling wise, whenever COVID started, we were getting properties for dirt cheap. Everybody was scared. We were able to go out there and pick what we wanted. And then as COVID was going, people were getting relief. There was like credit freezes by the government, or like people couldn't really, what's it called? Like creditors couldn't
foreclose on the house.
Yeah, like derogatory thing, because there were so many different relief programs.
Yeah,
to where you could not have to make payments and stuff like that, and
they kept extending that time, and then it just got back. Like, what was it, like last August or something? Or
it was really like in January, whenever they started. Year? Yeah, when they started kind of going back into the norm. So people's credit was immaculate. It was like the highest that the average credit for all Americans was ever.
Yeah,
and so like at that point, whenever everybody's credit was so high up, everybody decided to start buying. There was a super low inventory. So for wholesaling wise, as everybody started buying, most of these sellers who have houses that are in super bad condition thought that their houses were worth a lot more. So that's where we kind of had a tougher time acquiring properties. Even though we still acquired a lot of them, it got tough because sometimes you can't just convince people that it's like, hey, your house needs $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 worth of work. They're like, but this house over here sold for $300,000, and it's like, yeah, but like your house needs $100,000 worth of work. Like it's not that simple. So what we get really good at is going into a property, actually showing them like how much everything is going to cost to fix, and explaining to them as to why we get to the numbers that we get to. But you have to have an extensive knowledge of construction when it comes to that, and understanding your contractors. That's why it's so important to have good contractors that are going to be upfront with you with how much things cost, how much material is. And then that's another aspect of it, is that during the pandemic and then over the last year, materials went through the roof. So like what would take somebody $50,000 to rehab, like a couple months later would take you $80,000, $90,000. So it was just, like I said, it's a drastic change every single month.
And now whenever things kind of came back down because COVID kind of was getting better, it seems like it didn't get better because inflation just kind of kept going up to where how would you consider the difference between where the prices were at before COVID, when COVID started, or as well as like where they're at now?
I mean, things were a lot cheaper back then.
So they're even no. I'm talking about whenever COVID first hit, and then things started rising up. Like I remember everyone and their mom talking about lumber high. Like let's just say lumber, for example. Talk to me about lumber whenever you guys, like whenever it was high, and then compared to now.
Oh yeah, I mean they're still kind of high in itself. They've gone down. They've gone down a little bit, but it's a supply issue with with the demand and the low amount of like truckers and people actually being able to bring them, there's just a huge supply issue, and it's super hard to just get anything in any aspect from mechanical, from like your water heaters, like pumps, stuff like that, to condensers. Like it's super hard to get any kind of any parts or any material in any aspect of real estate, and it sets back your projects because of it.
Yeah.
Then you're waiting for the small little pump, and it could be 2, 3, 4 months out.
That's crazy, man. So would you say that most of the people that you guys are buying houses from, are they like 90%, or what percentage would you just say are like in a bad financial situation?
So I would say maybe 30, 40% are in a bad financial situation.
Really?
A lot of the properties are either inherited, or they're just wanting to leave Oklahoma. They want to go to Florida, or they want to move to California. They want to go on a vacation or something like that. Like,
but the biggest difference on going through somebody like a wholesaler rather than just getting either selling it yourself or hiring a realtor to sell it for you is that you don't have to put work into it. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Like to put like to fix things up? Yeah.
So what percentage of the houses that you're buying have to be fixed up one way or another? Like 100% of them?
99% of them. Rarely do you get turnkey properties, because if they're turnkey, they're most likely going to be on the MLS.
Gotcha. And at that point, it probably doesn't fit your math
Exactly,
equation.
because there's not enough equity in it.
Man, so tell me, so you're what, 33 now?
31.
31. Sorry, my math was a little wrong.
Okay.
Remember, you're better at math than I am at this point, I think. So tell me, you're 31. What's like the 5-year plan for you, where you're at right now? You were 24, or let's just go back. You were 21. You were in IT, making good money. And then 24 came up. You were like, I can make way better money in real estate. 24 to 27, that's about 4 years. Now you've been doing wholesaling for the past, 5 years or so. And so let's talk about the next 4 to 5 years. What does that look like for you?
So the next 4 to 5 years, I want to progressively kind of slow down being a real estate agent, not be on the field as much. My passion to me, what I really like is seeing like a dilapidated house come back to life.
Yeah.
Because our biggest motto is to bring back life to communities.
Yeah.
So like there's been certain apartment complexes that we've bought as a team and we've brought it back to life. Like, and we've had so many people tell us like, hey, the people that were living in there were not good people, either drug addicts, drug dealers. Like we had a drug dealer pull a gun at us at the first apartment complex that was bought. We got all of them out and completely changed the whole neighborhood. Like we had owners and landlords coming up to us and thanking us because of it.
How do you get them out though?
Calling the cops, getting security. Slowly but surely they'll start moving out, because you start fixing a whole bunch of stuff. You can also just like at some point whenever you buy the property, there's a transfer of utilities. So you can keep them off for a little while. People aren't going to have utilities in there, and then it kind of forces them to go out there. It's not like what we like to do.
Yeah.
We don't ever like to do that with people. But yeah, just security, police officers.
Do you guys normally go around right when you acquire something and just say, hey, new owners in town, you guys get up your stuff, you guys got to get your stuff and go? Is that kind of like the mild version of you guys getting them out?
So we hire a property management company that does all that work for us.
But you tell them, you say, hey, we want all these people out. We want brand new people in.
Depends. If they have a lease, we'll honor their lease. We have to honor their lease legally, especially if they're good tenants, if they paid on time, if they've kept the unit in good conditions. We absolutely love those kind of tenants.
So that's kind of how you're able to gauge on like these are good or not so good people to kind of.
Correct.
Because normally if you're a drug addict or all this stuff, you're probably not going to be making your rent on time and all that stuff. So, man, and then how do you guys go about like finding the brave people that say, man, this is a really pretty place because you renovated it and all this, whether it's an apartment or in a neighborhood, and they say, sure, we want to live here, even though like it might still kind of be rough, the area. So do you guys kind of cut them a deal up front, or like what? How do you guys do that?
We definitely don't cut them a deal. I think just the work speaks for itself. So we create a high quality product at an affordable rate, and just like if you go through other apartment complexes that are the same rate, ours will beat them out the water. Like we won the community of the year last year for Legacy at 51st.
51st and what?
51st and Sheridan.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'll have to take you there sometime so you can see the work. It's incredible.
And then so at that point, you get those people in, and then you probably get better qualified people, because if you have 5 people that are wanting to pay the same rate that everyone's paying for the same type of housing, let's say, and then probably everybody's going to raise their hand and say, I want the nicer one. Well, you have to be qualified, you know,
correct,
to be able to get into the nicer one. And then from there, I'm assuming you guys just probably raise rent and stuff like that later down, and then at that point you're bringing more people once it's been established and stuff. Yeah,
so kind of a strategy that we do is do apartments in phases. So we'll keep the tenants that are still leasing the units whenever we buy them, and then slowly but surely we'll progress. If they have like a unit in a building that we're rehabbing, we'll wait until they move so that we can rehab that unit, but the rest of them will get done and we'll put tenants in them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, so the next 4 to 5 year plan for you is to just do more
investing,
more investing,
more flipping, buying and holding. Because in reality, like the one true thing that you should want as a entrepreneur is freedom. Time freedom to do whatever you want to do, leave whenever you want to leave, go on vacation whenever you want to, have time for your family. And like one thing that, and I love it right now, like helping out my clients, showing houses, doing things like that. But over time, as I get older, I'm like, what's going to be more important to me? What's going to make me more money and save me more time? Because we all get the same 24 hours a day, but it's just kind of like, at some point the work kind of gets monotonous.
Yeah, I think that getting into this game of real estate, on no matter what side you're on, and then especially once you kind of start getting a taste of getting, you know, earning a good living, I think you get to start kind of flirting around the line of, wait, am I, you know, am I working to live or am I living to work? Because those are two completely different things.
Absolutely.
Right? If you look at so many people, it seem like their only purpose in life is just to work. And then they're infatuated with how much money they're making and all the nice things that they can buy and everything. But it's like, you have no time to enjoy those things. Exactly. And let alone, those are things like, what about your family? Like people that, I once heard somebody say, you know, I was watching this interview and the guy was asking, he's like, how old are your parents? And the guy said like 72. And he goes, how often do you see them a year? And he goes, twice a year. And he goes, when you put things like, you know, hey, my parents have 8 years to live. Let's say that they're going to die at 80. Let's just, you know, say that. You know, my parents have 8 more years to live. It's a lot easier to say that rather than say, hey, my parents have, I get to see my parents 16 more times.
Yep.
You know, when you put it that way, you're a lot more, you know, like you're a lot more alert of everything that you're doing, right? And then talking about how we all have the same 24 hours in a day, that's, man, it seems like that sometimes the most basic things in life and most simple things in life are the most powerful, but people just yet don't take advantage of that. It's crazy. Like, you see all these people that are doing these crazy awesome things, and it's like, dude, what's your secret? And there's no secret sauce. It's like, dude, I'm doing the basics and I'm doing them every day. I'm doing them consistently, and they're compounding to what you're seeing right now.
And like, so with what you just said right there, like, to me, like, over the last couple of months, I've been kind of focusing on my 4 pillars. So like the 4 pillars is building spiritual is number 1. Then you have your mental pillar, and then you have your financial and your health ones. So like, with your first one, with your spiritual, make sure you get right with God or whoever you believe in.
Yeah.
Your second one with the mental, keep expanding your knowledge, keep learning, keep growing. I don't care what anyone says. You're never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something new that you can learn. Third one is financial. you need money to move forward in life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what anyone says, like, with the whole money doesn't buy you happiness. And it doesn't, but it can buy you things that bring you happiness, take you on vacations, make sure your parents can retire, make sure you can retire, make sure your kids can go to college, do whatever you have to.
Well, going back to the same 24 hours in the day, we all have the same ones, right? And money doesn't buy happiness, but it can buy really nice things, like you said.
Exactly.
And the nicest of them all is time.
Freedom and time. Exactly.
But people don't put two and two together. It's crazy.
And then the last pillar, which is health, which is something you're big on.
Yeah.
And I am as well, because I work out 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
You have to have your body straight.
For sure,
You
man.
have to take care of your body, because if not, then the rest of them aren't going to matter.
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world, and if your body is not good, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, you have all these people that, you know, are really good at something. Like, I'll give you an example. We went on a trip a couple of months ago for a company, and they were like the top, I don't know, 100 loan officers in the company or something like that. And then I got to meet one of the top loan officers. Like, he's, you know, he does really, really well for himself. And of course, whenever somebody looks at him, you think, and most people that were down there kind of already knew him, because they see him on reports, this and that. And then I think that whenever they see him, they think, wow, this guy did this many loans last year. He did this much volume last year, and he probably made around this much money. But I saw something different. I got to talk to him a little bit, and he's not married. He said that anytime that he goes on a date, he tells girls that he's already married, and he's married to his job. And somebody else had a conversation with him and said that, you know, he's at the office until like 11:30, and then wakes up, does it all over again. Guy's overweight. I don't know his spiritual side of things, but what I'm trying to get at there is that I feel that sometimes we're so infatuated with what somebody's doing so right that we forget that there's other things that you have to keep balanced, right? You could be the fittest person in the state, in the nation, but if you can't pay your bills, like, how does that help you?
Exactly.
If you're not present for your family, like, what does that matter? Like, but so many people forget that. They're just infatuated with the shiny object that people are, like, you know, showing, because of course you know, in a way, before social media, and people talk about social media, it's like your highlight reel. It's like you're putting out there, you just got engaged, you just got a baby, whatever, and then people are like, oh my gosh, you know, Jorge's doing so well, he's just posting all these things. They don't know what's going on behind the curtains, the work, and all these things. And I think that that has always been a thing, even before social media. People were like, if I meet you and then you say, hey, my name is Jorge, I, you know, flip properties, I, you know that apartment complex down on 51st, yeah, that's me and my crew did that, blah, blah, blah. And then so that's your highlight reel before me even seeing your Instagram or anything. Like, I'm like, dang, that guy's doing well, or being like, man, I don't think that guy's doing as good, or whatever. But we forget about all the other pillars, like you were saying. So that is really awesome that you have those, because not everybody is conscious about that stuff.
Yeah, because so with that being said, like, I was 200 pounds, I want to say September last year.
200 pounds? How much you weigh now?
I weigh 178, but I dropped down to 165 and then gained muscle weight. So, like, I was, like, lethargic, tired, not happy, just, like, but I was making good money.
Yeah.
But I was not happy.
Yeah.
Like, so then I just slowly started grinding, started keep going to the gym. I'd started out with 3 days a week, and then 4 days, and then 5 days. And then it got to the point where, like, I wasn't as sore. I wasn't as tired. I actually had more energy throughout the day. I could work harder. But then at the same time, like, I also, like, set out specific times where, like, hey, on Sundays I'm going to go to Owasso, because that's where all my family lives at, and I'm going to go spend time with all of them.
Yeah.
But, like, I do not deviate from my 4 core pillars. Like, I have to do those each and every single day, from reading the Bible to reading my devotional, working out, reading a book, reading articles about how to invest better or where to put my money at. And then also just And yeah, like I do not deviate from those. I have to get those done before the day is done. And then whatever comes afterwards, it's just a reward. If I go to dinner with some friends, go get some drinks, go play some video games, like whatever it is, it's going to be a reward because it was well earned.
That's, yeah, man, that's so good. I feel like sometimes we take things for granted, especially living, in the United States. We have so many different things that we have such easy access to that we take for granted each and every single day, to where you can earn something as a reward even if you have easy access to. That's why we have, the problems that we have that are so basic. It's like we have an obesity problem in the United States, and it's as easy as like, hey, just don't eat as much stuff. And, maybe you exercise a little bit. Like, exercise is just like, just walk a little bit more, right? Walk. Just whatever. And people can't, so many people just can't put two and two together. Like, it's like, hey, what if, I go do this and in reward I'll get to eat pizza, this time or something. But so many people, it's so hard to see things like that because it's so easy to just go down the street and buy a box of pizza.
And that's so funny because I always tell people, I was like, I don't work out to look good. I work out to eat whatever I want to eat.
Yeah.
Like,
you can do both, right?
Exactly. Balance.
Man, I love it. I'm super blessed that I get adrenaline from just, trying to find like the next thing I can find as far as like fitness goes. And what's crazy is I've worked out my whole life, but I always struggled with like my diet and everything. And about almost 2 years ago, I started doing intermittent fasting, and that has really changed like the way I look at food. Even though I can like technically eat whatever I want, I'm more picky on like what I eat because my system can only intake so much because but no, that's definitely a good reward for sure. It's like, hey, and that's whenever the power of one more comes in. And what I mean by that is if you told yourself, hey, I'm going to go run a mile after work, you have to hold yourself accountable to run that mile. And then as you're running that mile or as you're getting to go run that mile, you say, man, some cookies sound nice. So it's like you have the power to do one more, whether it's one more mile, one more, go that extra mile to be able to eat that and then to be able to, reward yourself and not have to pay the consequences bad. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, man, so what are your thoughts as far as like with this market shift that we're seeing, like as far as on the wholesaling side? Do you think that that's going to pick up on your end just because like houses are starting to sit or what?
I think it'll pick up. It always does during these kind of times. As agent-wise, the market's going to slowly go from a seller's market to a buyer's market, which is what it's going to with how you said with the builders. They're sitting on 27, 26 properties right now. It's going to go back into a buyer's market. Wholesaling-wise, there's always a market. It doesn't matter if it's a high period of inflation or we're in a recession or a pandemic.
Yeah.
Like there's always opportunity. Like if you look at life in abundance, if you have an abundance mentality, it doesn't matter what's going on. You're always going to be able to capitalize.
The glass is always half full, man. That's how I see it.
That's how you have to live life.
People ask me what I think about the market right now. And I said, I'm excited about this market.
Same here.
Because from May of 2021 to May 2020 to May of 2021, the amount of loan officers in our area, licensing wise, doubled.
Yep.
And then what I tell people, they're like, what do you mean? What are you excited about? I'm like, I'm excited that whoever's not meant to be in this business,
it's gonna be gone.
They're going to be out.
Yep.
And then all the 1, 2, 3 deals that they were taking, they're going to come back to the people that,
exactly
were meant for this. I'm not saying if you just started in this business, you weren't meant to be in it, but so many people get in to be a realtor, a wholesaler, a lender, and they think it's going to be just easy, walk in the park, make a lot of money, and I've seen it to where, your buddy Heath that's in your group, he's a young guy that,
he's a killer.
Yeah, he does really well, especially for how young he is. But even though I'm not on you guys' office every day, I I can tell from afar that dude hustles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's what it
Hard
takes.
worker, man.
And that's what it takes, man. Well, man, I got 2 more questions for you real quick. One is, out of all the people out there, as far as like investors and people in the realm or whatever, who's somebody that you kind of look up to the most?
One of my partners, Arturo Saldivar. So all 3 of my partners, Arturo, Eli, and Carlos, adore those guys. Love their vision. We all have the same, what are they called? The same values.
Yeah.
But just like the way that they started out, the way that they keep hustling just as hard, even harder now than 2-3 years ago when I met them. Like, I've never really seen them lose.
Yeah.
Because they've made those mistakes, and they apply what they learned, the lessons they learned from those mistakes, into every single deal. And like, they were the ones that helped me create an abundance mentality, put me in the right state of mind, helped me hit my goals. Like, they're incredible at what they do. And any project that is done by any of those 3, it's gold. Like, they're not how do you call them? What are those landlords called? I forgot it.
Slumlords?
Slumlords. They're not slumlords at all. Like, they're going to make sure that they uplift their community every single time, every single project. It doesn't matter if a house is 700 square feet or if it's a 3,000 square foot project or a 64-unit apartment complex. They're going to give it their heart and soul, and they're going to put whatever amount of money they need to make sure that community becomes better. And to me, it just shows a lot about their worth and what they believe in themselves and what they should do for the community.
That's great, man. And yeah, I once heard you've never really made a mistake if you're able to get at least one lesson from that and carry it over to the next thing and be able to make the next thing that much better because of that lesson that you learned, right? That's the whole point of experience. I think that the word experience is thrown out, just thrown around, and it devaluates it because so many people say, you know, hey, you know, my name is so-and-so and I have 15 years of experience in what I do. But just because you've had time in that position doesn't mean you really have experience, because experience really means taking mistakes that you've learned throughout life and being able to make the next thing better and better and better. And at that point, to when you've been doing it 15 years, you're like, man, this is the experience that we're looking for, because this person has gone through just about, you know, everything in the book.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and man, my last question for you is, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received is, so it actually came from Arturo. He said, he's like, if you're not willing to give 100% at what you're doing, don't even try it. Don't even do it. Don't even waste your time, because then you're not going to be able to fulfill your potential if you can't give it your all. And once he said that to me, I started applying it, and like every single aspect of my life completely changed.
Yeah.
Because I like give my all to my work, to people that I know, friends, family now. And it's really helped me build better relationships with the people that I care about, better relationship with God, made me more efficient at work. And at that point, like, you can't lose whenever you're given 100%. You may not come out winning, but the lesson that you learn is going to teach you so much more than if you would have never even tried.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Yeah, so many people are very lukewarm in everything that they do.
They're scared. They're timid.
They want to have one foot in and one foot out, and you're not going to ever get results.
Strategy.
Like you said, you're not always guaranteed to win if you give 100%, but you're 100% guaranteed to fail, in my opinion, if you're not all in.
Yeah, I think turbulence in your life, you should embrace it, because it's going to teach you so much more and make you a stronger person.
Absolutely, man.
And a lot of people are scared of chaos in their life or turbulence, but like, if you put your mind into it, you choose the turbulence that you want to get, it's just going to make you a better person in the end.
Yeah, so many people want things handed to them. They want success to come easy, but they don't realize that it's in discomfort and it's in pain that growth happens, man.
Exactly.
Man, thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you, bro. You know, we fist bump around here. Man, excited for people to hear this and hopefully learn a little something.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Thank you, my man.